Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. I hope everybody is doing well out there. So, I wanted to take you outside to our little archery range. And one thing I've been enjoying a lot lately is the practice of archery. Um, I I don't know. I suppose for more than one reason, it just came to me. I have thought about it in recent times in the past and decided, you know what, I'm gonna get some a bow or two and some arrows, and make a little archery range and do some practicing. As a kid, I shot a little, only a little, but it feels so incredibly natural to me, comfortable, and so familiar. And it's also, in some ways, it's a meditative movement, certainly meditative when you're trying to do it without today's modern technology and doing it the old-fashioned way with longbows and recurves, more what they call trad archery. And of course, when I think of archery, I think of Rama. And so if you are unfamiliar with the myth and legend of Rama and Sita, there's this love story that is contained in the Ramayana, and this is one of the best known stories in the Hindu tradition. And Rama is actually known everywhere in Southeast Asia, everywhere from India, even over into China. And he seems to be a mythological figure based on fact. And in fact, Cindy did connect and at one time did channel from Rama, which was fascinating because Rama is taken to be an incarnation of Vishnu. There are other incarnations of Vishnu. Perhaps Rama is the second most well known one after Vishnu. And I think when we look at this, what is a avatar, an incarnation of Vishnu, the creator of this universe, in so many ways, it's saying somebody that's aligned with the natural order of things, somebody that is supporting the natural system as we live in a dark matrix within a natural matrix. It is a matrix. It is intended to be a learning ground, a place to go and explore and literally have fun. This is really the intention because our natural state is one in which our reality is not so dense and not so heavy as what we see here. And of course, we've all been living in the Kali Yuga, so we've been living in the densest, heaviest time at the densest, heaviest density, so to speak. And it is a learning ground. It is all about learning, growth, and exploration. So, who was Rama? Well, again, he is given to be an incarnation of Vishnu. Krishna is the last incarnation, Kalki is the coming incarnation. And in fact, if you look at how they describe Kalki, he does look very much suspiciously like the second coming of Christ in a more warlike manner to usher in a new age and remove an old age. And, again, from what has hit me and my understanding is that what we're given in the Abrahamic tradition is really a retelling of much, much older stories, which do have a lot of basis in truth. Some beings are very, very factual and actual and real beings. And when we look to Rama, he is in so many ways thought of as almost an idealized perfect man in some ways, and yet he makes errors. He makes errors just like all of us do. It's part of what makes this experience what it is. We come into this heavy, dense experience, and of course we're gonna screw up time and time and time again. It's just par for the course. Yet we keep trying to hit the bullseye. And the understanding that we have to really get to is that for each of us, the bullseye is different. There's not one definitive bullseye for all beings. As I've said so many times, it is not a one size fits all realm. And it's not supposed to be that way. And this is not how the universe works. It is, again, a distortion that we see with the false matrix or the dark matrix, whichever term is preferable to you, within the light matrix or the natural matrix. Rama always seeks to do what's right. He always will take the high road. He won't go down the low road, so to speak. Yeah, he does make errors. And even if we are talking about what's taken to be an actual incarnation of Vishnu, again, when you see the story of Jesus, Yeshua, as literally being an incarnation of God Himself, well, this is really the origin point of where those stories, myths, legends, again based on reality. But reality is also something that we all see through a completely unique lens. And that lens changes with time, depending on when we are looking at it at what point in life. We each grow. We never stay static. Even when it seems like we're stuck in a rut and we're in a period of perhaps what we might view as inactivity, or the fact that we can't perhaps manifest and do things we want to manifest at this point in time, you're still growing, even when it seems perhaps that you're not, or that you're stagnant. Yet, the intention of the higher self ultimately is growth. This is what the higher self wants for you. It wants growth, because what you experience here is downloaded when you sleep and in a meditative state. And then after we leave this density and dimension, it's downloaded to the higher self and also the natural matrix. You are never alone, so you don't need cameras and drones to follow you around, because everything that you do, every single act that you make the decision to undertake, is written permanently and is recorded permanently. Every little choice we make is recorded permanently. And in fact, it's what I've come to understand with the help of Cindy, is that we can go back and we can then explore other avenues. Well, what if on that path I didn't go left? What if I took the right path? What if I didn't, do this or do that, didn't make this major decision, didn't make that major decision? Well, again, in that period we call the afterlife, which really is on fourth density. And where on fourth density depends on where we are, where our frequency is when we are jumping over to the other side and leaving this body. Over there, we get to view those things. We get to replay things. This is why there is a life review. In the Egyptian and Tibetan Book of the Dead, it does talk about life review. Again, the weighing of the soul by Ma'at, again, against the lightness of a feather. Well, ultimately, the soul itself, well, it's interesting because scientists have actually recorded that there's a tiny little variance when a person dies in actual weight from when they are alive, that some have attributed to the soul. Is it less than that of a feather? It's a metaphor, but again, it's to help us to understand that we can't be pulled down by everything around us, the external forces that are always trying to tug at us in this huge tug of war. It's up to us. It's our decisions. It's our choices. Which way are we going to go at what moment? Every decision we make has its karmic repercussions. Again, karma is nothing other than the law of cause and effect. And in this world, it is truly the monetary system of the world, so to speak. It's the only monetary system of the natural matrix, is that whatever we put out into it, it will be manifested in one way or another, and it will be multiplied. So the more that we can keep ourselves in on that higher path, in a higher vibrational frequency, the better it will be. Now, the story of Rama is, again, as an incarnation of Vishnu, and as a king searching for his kingdom and for his other half, who is Sita. There's a lot to the story, but basically, suffice it to say that one of the things I've been really drawn to is the whole story of Rama stringing a bow. So there was this bow. It's quite like King Arthur pulling the sword out of the stone. And in fact, I think again that this might be the originating point of that particular story, as again the allegory is so similar. There's this bow that nobody can string, and in fact, people can't even lift it. It's so heavy. This bow was made by Shiva himself. It was made by Shiva and passed on to a royal lineage. And over the centuries, it has sat unused because there's nobody suitable to wield it. And if you've ever strung a bow, a traditional bow, it depends on the poundage. It can be quite challenging, as there are war bows that may be 130 pounds or more in draw pull, and that's a lot of weight to string and to subdue and to handle. And here we're talking about something mythologically that's perhaps much more than that. But when Rama comes along, the bow is there, unstrung. The best warriors all across the land can't do it. People are coming from other lands trying to string it. And what's at stake is the hand of the king's daughter, of course. Again, these stories, you see them echoed throughout time. And in many ways, yes, they are talking about archetypal forces and archetypal situations that we find ourselves in. So Rama comes along and strings it easily and wins the hand of Sita. And again, our pups, Rama and Sita, are named after them. Because what happens next? Well, Sita ends up getting kidnapped by an Asura. Asuras are basically demonic entities, extraterrestrials that come and conquer cities and towns and areas and set themselves up as the rulers, the dictators, and take anything they want. Well, this one wanted Sita to be his life, so he kidnaps her and takes her to Lanka, today's Sri Lanka. And of course, we've talked about Adam's Bridge, which is a biblical renaming of Ram Setu, or Rama's Bridge, as it was originally called, which was a bridge built by Hanuman type creatures, Bigfoot type creatures working with Rama. Again, an earlier form of humanoid being living upon the earth in great numbers at one time that is no longer in great numbers now, because, again, of the system not being able to keep threats around, as the system is always looking to eradicate threats. But here you have it. It's that King Arthur type of pulling the stone from the sword because it was his destiny. And it's the same thing because Rama comes along and easily strings and lifts the bow, and it becomes his magical weapon, so to speak. And it's an allegory, again, for us and in our lives. When we look to Rama's energy and Hanuman's energy, these are beings that were of a different age. They will always do the right thing. They almost can't do the right thing. And when they don't do the right thing, it's just simply out of pretty much blind ignorance, not understanding the bigger picture, which happens to all of us. And it's a matter of us getting back on our target and aiming true at our unique perspective of what we want to achieve in life. So when we look at the target, we don't all have the same targets. Some people may have one goal and somebody else could have a totally different goal. This is the beauty and the uniqueness of the multiverse that we live in. It is never supposed to be one size fits all. So, again, it's an admonition to be true to yourself and to be you. That is ultimately the goal here. I was looking at John Levy's last one where he was bringing up Maslow's pyramid of needs, the hierarchy of needs. And again, self-actualization up at the top of the pyramid, well, that's nothing new. And instead of actualization in the Sanatana Dharma and Hinduism, it's self-realization. It's just realizing, who are you? Who are you really? What did you come here to do? What did you come here to achieve? It certainly isn't to work a 9 to 5 job as the employee number 3652. No, of course not. That's the unnatural matrix. The discovery of yourself and what you want to embrace in this life, what journey you want to take, because every single road is unique. The path traveled is the whole point. It's not the destination. We're all going to at some point in time come to the same destination, and that might be billions and trillions of our years away. Depends on the path that the higher self, the bigger you, chooses, as well as the little you, because when the little you goes against what the higher self has chosen, this is when we find obstacles always blocking our way, and things seem to be tough and things don't feel quite right. It's when we get in alignment with the higher self. And I think this is where so many people can interpret it as God's will and not my will. Well, in reality, it's discovering what is your will, but what was your original will when you came into this matrix? And how has that missed the mark now with the little self? Are you now taking a path that you would never have chosen to take it? Because this does happen. And unfortunately, it happens probably more often than not when we're in a Kali Yuga. Thankfully, though, the light is dawning and we can see much more clearly, so we can aim directly at our target and we can get in alignment with our higher self, or if you want to view it as God's will for you. Because again, we all come in here with certain goals and purposes to achieve, and each one of us is not on the same path, even though our paths may cross at times. Obviously, we don't all see the world from the same perspective. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. And I look forward to your comments. Thanks for your support on Patreon. We couldn't do it without you guys. Again, unique videos up there each week. Source bless and namaste.